taking Luke down with the double leg takedown, and then once we've landed on the ground, we're going to advance into side control, go through some ground and pound from side control, then transition into mount. Then once we're in mount, we'll go through some more ground and pound, and then finish on a choke as well. So what I'm going to do is, firstly, we need to be able to take him to the ground, and in MMA, we have to use strikes to set it up. If I just shoot for takedowns, Luke's going to know it's coming and he's going to start sprawling straight away. So the best way to set up takedowns is by using your hands. And if we're going to set up a double leg, because it's off our lead knee, we want to make sure it ends on a lead side attack. If I try and throw a rear side attack, it just doesn't flow the same. Bang, bang, compared to bang, bang. Lead side attack is a lot easier to set up the double leg. So what I'm going to do to start with is I'm just going to do left hook just to keep it simple. So left hook gets him to cover up. Now he's thinking about the hands upstairs, and I'm going to shoot down on my double leg. But when I shoot down on this double leg, it's very important that my knee lands past his lead foot. Because if I shoot in line with his lead foot, Luke can just sprawl super easily. If I'm not even anywhere near his lead foot, it's going to be even easier for him to score on me. No way am I going to be able to finish that double leg. So we want to make sure that we're as close as possible to him. So we need to make sure that our knee lands past his lead foot. And then the first point of contact on the double leg is our shoulder on his hip. And another important thing as well, I do not want to be looking at the floor when I go for this takedown. Of course, it's MMA. So if I look down at the ground, Luke could throw like a knee or something on my way in. He could throw like an uppercut on my way in. We do not want to be looking down, we want to be looking forward because it's going to help our glide a lot better. So, touch, end on a lead side attack. We want our knee to land past his lead foot. And now we're directly underneath him. So now if Luke tries to sprawl, it should be very difficult for him because it's so much harder to hold a dumbbell out here compared to really close to you. You can hold a lot more weight towards your chest compared to if you're holding it out here. So, end on the lead side attack, knee goes past his lead foot, shoulder touches him first, and I bring this right leg round. One more time. And then I'm going to use this leg in a second to try and finish the takedown. Show it from this side. That'll do for that one.
Yep.
So once I've got to the double leg entry, I've brought this right foot round. This is what I'm going to use to stand up onto both feet. So when I stand up onto both feet, I've got both of my hands on the outside of his knees here. Some people like to lock their hands, which I prefer to do up against the cage. But when we're in the open space, I want to have my hands on the outside of his knee because we're going to use that to finish the double leg soon. So once this foot here is planted on the floor, I'm going to use it to stand up into a squat position. But when I stand up here, I want to make sure that my knee is on the outside of his knee here. So you just come round here for us. Shoot down. And when I stand up onto both feet, my knee is going to go on the outside of his right leg. And I'm going to use it to counter. Okay, I see quite a lot of people try and finish the double leg from this position here. It's not easy to lift somebody from this position, trust me. So we need to get into like a traditional squat position when we do this lift. Take it on the outside, keep your head up tall, and it's easy to go for the final carry finish. So before we move on to actually finishing the double leg and landing on the ground, I just want everyone to get used to getting underneath them and lifting them up. So we wouldn't do this in a real fight, but this is the first step before we actually finish the double leg. That'll do for now. Okay, so now we're actually going to land to the ground with them because it's pretty pointless going for a big takedown. You've wasted a shit ton of energy. You get them to the ground and then they just get straight back up. So we need to be able to figure out how to control them because we do not want to waste our energy taking someone down and they just get straight back up. It's the most demoralising thing in the world. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the lead hand again, shoot down for the double leg. And notice how my head is on this side of his ribs, and my side of my ear is glued to his ribs here. I'm going to use my head to help me finish this double leg and this leg here. So once I've got to this position, I'm going to use this to take my weight over here, and then I'm going to use my head position to help me go through the trick too. And we land on the ground. So when we land on the ground, we do not want them getting straight back up to their feet. So I want head on opposite sides of their legs. So as you can see, his legs are in the middle, my head is on one side, and my legs are on the other side. It's a lot easier to control somebody from here in comparison if they're both on the same side like this. If you just come round here, just look how awkward it looks for me to hold somebody down here. Just try and work your way up to your feet from there. Super easy in comparison to, if you go back down, in comparison to this. Okay, now try and escape it. So much harder, I've got way more strength in this position. So as soon as we land the double leg position, we want our shoulder pressure in the same position and we want our head on this side, like this. And then I like to be up on my toes, and then for them to be able to get back to their feet, they need momentum. So they're going to act like more of a springboard to get back to their feet. We just need to take away their momentum. So they need both feet on the floor to stand up. If both their feet are off the ground, they can't stand up. So when you land on the double leg, have their feet elevated for half a second. Now Luke has completely lost his momentum. Even if he did manage to get his feet back to the ground, he's going to struggle a lot more. And I can start advancing into a better position. So I'll show the landing and the takedown one more time. Shoot. Double leg position, head on one side, leg on opposite side, and just elevate the legs for about half a second so he loses momentum. Okay, that'll do for the half. So starting from the double leg position again, head on the opposite side to legs, okay? So from here, although it's a lot easier to hold somebody down here, even if with their legs elevated, they can still eventually work their way up. We do not want to stay here forever. We want to get chest to chest with him because he can start pushing my head away from me, and he can start pushing like towards that way, and he can just start worming his hips back and start getting back to his feet. We can't chill there forever. We need to somehow solidify the position. So from the double leg position here, once we've ruined their momentum for about half a second or two, so they've completely lost their momentum in order to spring back to their feet, we're going to go from this position here to wrapping over the shoulder here. If you just come around here for us. So I'm in the double leg position, I'm going to go over the top and I'm going to wrap his shoulder. And I'm going to use that to help me walk into side control here. If you just come around this way. So Luke, the jiu-jitsu guy, will probably have this type of frame here. So I'll show you one more time. Double leg position. I'm going to wrap over the top until I've got his shoulder, because we're going to use that shoulder here to help us walk up. Okay, but obviously the whole time we want to keep our chest tight to him. We do not want to give him any space to get up whatsoever. So here, wrap it over the shoulder, and we're just slowly walking into side control. And then once I've got them in side control, I want to go underneath their head. We're going to wrap their head. My elbow is blocking this hip right here. So, elbow is blocking this hip, and I'm controlling his head from this side. If you just come around here for a sec. My right knee is blocking this hip, and my left knee is blocking his right shoulder. So I'm blocking every single hip there. And then wrap their head, keep this tight, keep everything in. And with my shoulder pressure, I want to make him face the complete opposite way to me. So now, in order for Luke to get his guard back, he needs to turn towards me and start getting his knee through, right? If I turn his head this way, he's going to have to basically snap his neck in order to do that. So try and get your guard back. Very difficult, very difficult. And when we've got our knees and on each hip here and on his shoulder, we want to be sat down on our heels because Luke wants to turn towards me and I've got very good surface area from here. Try and sweat out this look. Very difficult. Okay? So just as a bit of proof, I'm going to get Luke to do it to me because Luke's got a massive size and weight disadvantage over me. But if you guys are good at holding the side control, you can hold people a lot bigger than me from here. So Luke's going to wrap my head. He's going to block my hip with his elbow there. Knee a bit closer to mine. And I'm just going to try and worm my way out of this. Of course, eventually I might be able to But the point is, he's going to be able to hold you down even if he's got a massive weight disadvantage over you. So let me just go back to that position. So, double leg. Reach over the top of the shoulder. Use it to get chest to chest with him. Turn his head the complete opposite way. And I've got both of my knees blocking on each side. So now, Luke should not really be able to move at all from here. I can just be a wet blanket from here. Okay, we've just worked super hard to get the double leg position, and now we've solidified the position. So now in a second we're going to work on some strikes from the side control. Okay, so that was pretty easy. We've gone from double leg position into side control position. We're just going to go back to that same position as last time. Our opponent has got the frame on our neck like that, so if I put too much pressure on him, I'm going to end up choking myself out. So that's why a lot of jiu-jitsu guys always stay here. Okay, not very nice position for me to be in. So what we're going to do is, from here, we're just going to work some ground and pound, because it's MMA at the end of the day. If you're doing amateur MMA, you only have to hold them on their back for 3 minutes and you've won the round. So if you get a takedown in the first minute, you're going to have to hold them down for 2 minutes and you've won the round. So position over submission, boys. Once I get to here, the arm that's underneath his head, we're going to work our way into a bit of a scarf hold position. So from here, I'm going to switch from the back of his head, I'm going to switch to the back of his tricep instead. I'm going to pull it as close to my armpit as I can. I'm going to bring my right foot in here. So we want him basically, his shoulder on top of our quad / inside thigh position here. From this position, Luke's only got one arm to cover up. So he's going to cover up and I'm going to throw some strikes. He probably isn't going to like that, so he's going to start trying to turn back towards me. As soon as he does, we just go back to our side control position, because it's so easy to hold people here in comparison to this. If we chill here for too long, Luke's going to start digging that underhook and he's going to start trying to take you back. Okay? So as soon as you sense that he's trying to worm his way around to your back or he's trying to escape, you just want to abandon that position and go back to side control. So I'll just start back in side control again. Here. From here, I'm going to grab the back of his tricep, I'm going to pull it up to my armpit and I'm going to squirm my right knee in. Here, so I'm basically like lying down on my side here. I should be able to see my opponent pretty easy. I'm going to throw a few strikes. He isn't going to like that, so he's going to start turning towards me or start trying to take my back. As soon as he does, I'll go back to wrapping the head and I'll return back to side control, blocking every single hit like I just showed you. Okay, so a few more times from side saddle position. Few strikes, he goes to escape, abandon, straight back to side control position. Alright, so that was the side saddle there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now we've done the side saddle position, and that one's a good position for landing strikes in amateur MMA. However, professional MMA or just street fights in general, we're allowed to use elbows. And of course, from the side saddle, we can still land elbows, of course, very damaging shots. But it's a much more effective way to throw elbows from the crucifix position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go search with this hand here. I'm going to pin it to the mat. Once I've pinned it to the mat, I'm going to step over the top and I keep everything like this. I've seen a few people that like this variation. I personally prefer this one here. But this is something that you guys can play around with. So Luke isn't going to like that. He's going to start squirming his way out, right? So what we want to do to land good shots is we want to frame on their face and just aim for our own hand with the elbow. Like that. As soon as he starts to squirm his way out, we're just going to abandon it and go back to the side control position once again. Okay? So, go for the crucifix position, pin it to the mat, frame on the face, you can land some elbows. As soon as he feels like he's going to escape, you just abandon it and you go back to side control. And just have a few little plays about with some different strikes from that position. There's endless different variations of strikes that you can do. Now, sometimes it really does depend on how much strength your opponent's got. If you're against a bigger opponent, you're going to struggle to get the Kimura on. Sometimes, if, say for example, Luke tries to get the Kimura on me, he's trying to get the Kimura on me. So if you just come around here, it's getting past you if I didn't. See it? If Luke gets getting the Kimura here, sometimes people are really strong and they can resist it. Sometimes people can even just bicep the curl their way out of this, right? So this only works, well, let me just swap over. This works really well if you're the guy with the size advantage. So if you want to be a bit of a weight bully, this is like one of the best ways to do it. So from here, we can't always get the Kimura, especially when we start pushing their hand to the mat. What they'll most likely do is start facing that way because they know that this Kimura is coming. The more he's facing this way, the less tension there is on the shoulder. So we're just going to let him do that, and we're actually going to encourage it by making him go onto his side even more. So if you just come around this way for us, babe. If I get this head here and I wrap his head, he probably won't turn all the way. So what I'm going to do is, with those knees, I'm going to walk him until he is flat on his back here. Okay? Then from here, we're going to step into mount. But we're not going to step into mount, we're going to slide into mount. Because if I try and step into mount, Luke's going to try and entangle my legs, and he's going to stop me from being able to do that. Sometimes people even, if you just keep that glute there, sometimes people even do this. So then I just can't step over into mount. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and aim to get our knee on his hip first. And once our knee is on his hip, we're going to slide it down his belt until it reaches the mat, and then we're going to flare the heels and then end up in mount. It's a much more smoother transition into mount. So I've made him as side on as I possibly can. I'm going to try and get my knee onto his hip. Once this is on his hip, I'm going to slide it to the ground. And once it's slid to the ground, I'm just going to flare the heel out. And I should end up in mount here. And because we've still got control of his arm, he's got nothing here to protect him from me walking up into mount. If he has his elbows tucked in, I can't walk any higher. So what we're going to do is when we transition into mount, he's on his side. I'm going to keep this wrist the whole time. I'm going to walk as high up into his armpits as I can. And now look how high up this mount is now. Look how fucked he is. So keep control of the wrist for the whole transition. So push it to the mat, walk him onto his side. If I let go of this wrist here now when I step into mount, he's going to start tucking his elbows in, and it's going to make it very difficult for me to walk higher. Now I'm in a low mount. From low mount, he can start bridging his hips to the sky and start escaping. However, if I keep his wrist the whole time and walk into a bit more of a high mount, now try and bridge your hips. Very difficult for him. So the higher the mount, better. It's harder for him to escape, and it's an easier target for you. You're just going to keep on spamming shots to the head until the ref stops it. If it's an amateur fight, the ref starts getting scared after about 2-3 shots. So you really don't have to have this position for very long, and it is near enough a checkmate position anyway. So last transition, I push his wrist to the mat. He doesn't like it, so he's going to start automatically turning that way. He doesn't turn all the way, so we're going to help him by walking forward a bit more. Keep hold of this wrist. I'm going to get my knee to his hip. Sometimes he'll turn way over. And then I'm going to try and slide it to the mat. And once it's slid to the mat, I'm just going to flare the heel out. As soon as I've done that, I'm pulling up on his wrist and I'm walking as high up as I can. If you can tuck your knees in as well, I mean, it's even worse. Just look how shit this position is for him. Try and cover up from there. Bang, bang, try and escape. Very difficult. I can just keep on striking from there. Thank you, Farrell.